All right, welcome to another challenge lab by Scalable for AZ700. In this one, we're going to be working with Azure Firewall. So again, we need to start by creating a VNet. And we have an existing resource group that we're going to be using here. And we're going to call this the Firewall VNet. For IP addresses, we're going to use the 1010 IP range. And then the subnet that we're going to have is going to be called web. And it's going to be the bottom /26. It doesn't want to go there. There we go. Well, that's created. So let's go back. And now let's add a subnet. And this subnet is now specifically for the firewall. So nowadays we need to actually choose that up here. So it's going to be for Azure Firewall, and then it names it automatically Azure Firewall subnet. And it makes it a 26. And we want to start at 10.10.1.0. A little bit easier. All right, then let's create a network security group. Same resource group. I'm going to call it the web NSG. Cool, and then we want to associate it with the web subnet that we created, like that. All right, so that's done. Next up, let's create a virtual machine. I'm going to call it VM1. We don't need any redundancy. Image could be 2019. Size could be B2S. And then the username is going to be Azure admin. And we have a special password. We're not going to create any inbound ports here. Then for the networking, we want to put it in the web subnet. That's cool. We don't want a public IP address. We don't need a security group. So let's create it. In the network security group, we could allow inbound RDP. Let's add a rule for that. And then we should be done. And now we can create the firewall. It's going to be called Firewall 1. We're just going to use the standard SKU here. And create a new policy. Virtual network should be an existing one. Over here, we don't need the NIC. So then the create a new public IP address for the firewall. Should be good. So let's create this. All right, that's deployed. So we need a couple of details from our firewall, like the private IP, that for the next hop. And then we need the public IP as well. (172, 191, 151.11). All right, there we go. So next up, we need to create a route. Same resource group. Call the route table firewall route. So now that that is created, here we are. And we want to associate it with the web subnet. That's correct. And then we want to add a route. Basically, firewall user-defined route. So basically, if we go anywhere, then the next hop is a virtual appliance, which happens to be the firewall, which was at 10.10.4. Right. That's there. So let's update our firewall policy. Let's create an application rule. I'll call it application collection 1. 200 priority. It's going to be an allow. It's going to be the default application rule collection group. And let's, for example, allow Google from 10.10.00 using HTTP and HTTPS to www.google.com. There we go. So let's create a DNAT rule here. Priority 200 as well. Put that in the DNAT rule collection group. This is for RDP. So from the internet, we can connect to 3389. And if the connection goes to our firewall IP address, then we forward it to our virtual machine instead. All right, so we can test that. Let's run the remote desktop connection, and let's connect to the public IP address of the firewall. And that should be now forwarded to our virtual machine, right? There we have Azure admin with the password. And there we go. So that's how we connect to our virtual machine, even though it doesn't have a public IP address at all from the internet. Okay, so let's go to google.com. And that works, right? Perfectly. However, if you try to go to microsoft.com, then that does not allow. It's not allowed, right? And that's our application firewall in place. Okay, so that's everything for this lab. So we created a firewall. We added a couple of rules into it, and then we tested them out. I hope you enjoyed the lab, and see you in the next one. Until then.